Hi everyone. How everyone doing? I'm coming to everyone today to kind of do like a one-stop shop video. Everybody's been asking me about my journey with childbirth and everything that I experienced during that time. And I got a lot of questions coming my way. And I told everybody that I would respond when I felt the time was appropriate. And I was a little less emotional. I'll say that. Mainly from family members and friends, and and my support group family. Hi, y'all. I decided that being though tomorrow's Thanksgiving, that I would do this video, which we'll be posting tomorrow. And that's just because I am thankful beyond belief. You guys have no idea, but I'm going to explain my story. If anybody have any questions, DM me. It's okay. I'm a little open to it a little more now. So I guess I'll start. So I found out I was pregnant, I'll say January. Yeah, this past January. And I feel like things kind of happened really fast after that. I went through a lot of unfortunate stress during that time. Stress that I never thought that I would ever have to endure. But life happens. I'll say that. Life happens. In April of this year, I was admitted into the ICU for up to a week. They believed that my uterus was going to burst, and they were extremely nervous. They didn't think that my son was going to make it. That was really bad. All I remember was Dad and I losing it. We're literally sitting in this room, and you got doctors coming in guessing what's wrong with me. Guessing. Telling me my uterus was extremely thin, and they didn't know how to explain it, and things of that nature. And you have to see this specialist, you have to see that specialist. Like, it was really bad. Made it out of ICU. But now at this point, I am literally at the doctor every single Monday. I had a 10 a.m. standing appointment every single Monday. Outside of that, I'm in maternal fetal medicine, getting checked, making sure my son is okay, and things of that nature. And all I remember was during this time, I was feeling like kind of God was like punishing me. I honestly felt like God was punishing me something heavy, because in the back of my mind, I'm like, I always wanted a baby. Like, God, you knew this, and here it is. It's finally happening, and I'm going through unbelievable stress that I can't control. And my body is failing me. And literally, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm getting tests ran, and I'm healthy. They can't find nothing wrong. I'm perfectly healthy. But there's issues that no one can explain at the moment. So, bed rest it was. I got put on bed rest early. Couldn't do too much. That sucked. I'll say around May, I started getting really sick. None of the meds they were putting me on was helping, like at all. Like nothing was helping. Thank God for insurance, because baby, the amount of trial meds they kept putting me on was unbelievable. Like really unbelievable. Fast forward to June 2nd. I get a call from my cardiologist. He says, Ashley, do me a favor and take your pressure. I'm like, okay. I had a home pressure cuff. I'm like, all right, sure. I'm feeling fine. There are no issues. I'm good. I take my pressure, skyrocket. Mind you, I feel fine. And usually when someone has really high blood pressure, the first thing they say is, hey, you see any like dots in front of your eyes, and are you having like chest pains and headaches? I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm sitting watching TV. I'm good. Miss Williams, it's time for you to go to the hospital. I'm like, all right, no big deal. They're just gonna check me out. They're gonna send me back. No, that's not the case. As soon as I got to the hospital, they was like, you're not going nowhere. Hope you got your work stuff. You're not going nowhere. Christiana had a unit where they put moms like me who was suffering from different illnesses and like preeclampsia and different things like that. So my doctor came and was like, well, right now you're about 25 weeks. We're going to hold you here until you're at least 30 weeks. And then we're going to deliver your baby. I'm like, whoa. I got to be here for about 5-6 weeks. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. But all right. Whatever you say. Been going along with you this far. All right. Man, things start going downhill real quick. So I went from an extended stay room to the next day being in intensive care again. This time I'm being placed on magnesium. I don't know if any of you have ever had magnesium, but it's no joke. Literally, you can't eat. First of all, being pregnant can't eat? Ridiculous. Can't eat, can't get out of bed, so I'm on a bedpan. That was horrible. Literally couldn't do anything. I make it off of the magnesium. They running my levels. They like, Ashley, your kidneys starting to look, the numbers starting to look a little bad. Like, you know, we really have to keep watching you closely. I'm like, okay. All right, watch me. Perfectly fine. I'm off the magnesium. Remove me back to extended stay. Everything's going good. Now, mind you, the whole time, Ian's heart rate is phenomenal. No problems with Ian's heart rate. 2 days later, I'm back in ICU. Now everybody's really concerned. They cannot control my blood pressure at this point. Like, cannot control it. So I'm like, it's not what I'm eating. I'm not doing anything. Like, I'm healthy. I'm eating well. I'm not doing anything. Like, nothing's wrong. Like, what's happening? I'm back on magnesium again. All right. This is not fair, but all right. I'm hanging there. I'm winging it. We're good. Leave intensive care again. Go back to extended stay. I did this about 3 times. This time, they're like, okay. They're sending everybody in at this point. They can't keep me calm because now I'm nervous. So when Dad couldn't be there, my best friend Marshall was there. And mind you, this is well into COVID where no one but one support person can be there. But they allowed me to have 2. That's how crazy things was getting for me. So one day the doctor comes in and says, listen, I need you to talk to somebody in labor and delivery and in the NICU. And I'm like, well, why? He's like, well, if you have to deliver your son early, there could be problems, complications, and they need to know how you feel about certain things, how, just how we're going to handle this as a team. And to me, I'm like, handle what? Like, I ain't come this far for you to be telling me I need to handle. No, we're not doing this. So he comes to me and give me the odds of me having a healthy baby at 26 weeks. I was not having it. Wasn't having it. You couldn't tell me that I came this far and my son, one, may not make it, or you just wasn't telling me that. I wasn't hearing it. So I shooed him away, told him he can keep his information, he can pretty much go about his business. A couple hours later, they sent him back down. And this time my doctor comes with him and he's like, listen, I need you to listen. And I guess they figured he was the only one I was going to listen to. So I'm like, all right, like I'm listening. And he starts giving me the odds. He said, now Ashley, we're going to do whatever we need to do to make sure your son is okay. But your son is not my concern. Your son is his concern and you are mine. We do two different jobs. And I'm like, all right. At this point, I already made up my mind about how I felt this was going to go. And I made my peace with how I felt this was going to go. Because this man just wasn't going away. So I said to him, I said, all right. Is my pressure causing me to harm my son? Is there any way you could sedate me? And he's like, sedate? Like what type of sedate? I'm like, chemically induce me into a coma. That way my body is fully relaxed and my son has time to continue to bake. He says to me, I won't do that. I said, well, why? He said, because your pressures have been so high that you may not wake up. He said, the baby could stay in possibly a little longer, but you may not wake up. I said, okay, I'm okay with that. I called my mom. Mind you, he's like not with it. I called my mom. I told my mom, I said, listen, I'm trying to get my doctor to agree to put me out in a coma so that Ian can survive. Because the odds they were giving me was sounding like my son just wasn't going to survive. And at this point, I don't know where my faith in God is, honestly. And I know a lot of you thinking, well, girl, God, at the time I wouldn't think about that. Just wasn't. And my mom completely like snapped, start crying. If y'all knew my mom, y'all know she snapped. And I'm like, Mom, but this is my baby. And she's like, well, you're mine. And I'm not okay with this. And I was like, honestly, I don't need you to be. I made my decision. So she hung up and called all my brothers. Lord Jesus, that was another mess. I pulled Dad to the side. I'm like, listen, this is something I want to do. Are you okay with this? He didn't really give me an answer. You can tell he was just nervous. Everybody know I bought my house for my 30th birthday. I'm like, listen, I want my son raised in my house. This is what I want you to do. This is how I want him raised. This is like, I'm literally laying out the land for him to make sure Ian is straight with me not being here. I made peace with me not being here any longer. My doctor came back in and ran more tests. And I'm like, so can we do this? He's like, Ashley, I don't agree with this. So once again, a guy from NICU comes and says, so what are you going to do? And I'm like, listen, You're not taking my son out of me until it's time. I said, because I'm not leaving this hospital without my son. I'd rather he leave without me. Things got rough. The next day, Dad comes from work, comes sees me. I was like, I need to run somewhere real fast. He had to go to his mom's. So my best friend comes. And we're sitting in the room talking, and the doctor's rushing. And they're like, Ashley, we just got your labs back. And I'm sorry to tell you, but when the next operating room open, we have to take you. And I'm like, no. They like, but Ashley, we understand how you feel, but if we don't take you soon, you won't live or your son. That was a pill. Had to swallow that one. I'm like, all right. There's nothing I can do at this point. Like, here it is, I'm fighting to keep him in, to save him. Now you telling me that neither one of us are going to make it? All right. How long? About 6 hours. Somebody else is in the operating room. I'm like, okay. Anybody know my best friend Marshall? This man is a prayer warrior. He went in. He went in. I called Kev. I'm like, yo, they're telling me I have to go, and I have to go. You know, and it's time to come out. So he's like, all right. He gets to the hospital maybe in half an hour later. Remember that 6 hours I told you about? My next labs came back. They came to me and said, Ashley, you no longer had 6 hours, you got 2. What? We have to go. They took it straight down to labor and delivery. I had to get an emergency C-section. All I remember laying on the table getting ready for delivery was, if my son don't make it, I'm going to lose my mind. That's all I kept thinking about. I'm like, I'm not going to be right ever again. That's all I kept thinking about. I'm like, y'all might as well just kill me. Like, don't, just let me bleed out. Like, I'm not leaving here without him. Literally, that's the only thing going through my mind. After they give me my epidural, Kevin comes in the room, and we're ready. They're like, okay. Anybody that ever get a C-section, they try to warn you. It's not going to hurt, but you're going to feel a little pressure or tugging. I'm like, all right. Y'all, Ian comes out crying. Something they would have never expected. Like, never expected him to do. My baby came out crying. Okay? I'm turning my head, like, just trying to find him, and I cannot see my baby. Kevin runs over, cut the umbilical cord, and he's like, he's perfect. You know, all his fingers there, his toes there, he's perfect. He's small, but he's perfect. My son was born at 1 pound, 6.88 ounces. At 9:38 p.m. on 6/8, he was 12 inches long. They said I tried to get off the table while numb to go get my baby, to the point they had to strap me down and drug me up. I just wanted to get to my baby. I had him at 26 weeks and a day. I got upstairs and immediately I asked for a breast pump. My milk came in immediately. The doctors were amazed. And I'm sitting up here like, my baby needs my milk. Like, he's not getting formula. My baby needs my milk. Milk came in. They were amazed. They start running tests on Ian. Because if anybody know anything about premature babies, and Ian was a micro preemie. A lot of them suffer from brain bleeds, which causes all types of other issues. And Ian did not have a brain bleed. No issues with his brain. No issues with his hearing. My baby was good. He tired out, so they had to put him on a breathing tube. Fast forward a little bit. The breathing tube gave Ian pneumonia. So the same machines that were saving his life scarred his lungs. Okay, lungs heal. We are literally in Christiana for 4 months at this point. They tried taking him off the breathing tube multiple times. He pulled it out multiple times. Just wouldn't work. He's breathing fine on his own. He just has a hard time letting off his CO2. And all I could remember was like, God, like, why are you doing this to me? Like, what did I do? Like, the support that I'm needing, I'm not getting. Like, I'm all over the place. Yes, and when I say support, I don't want nobody to think, oh, no, nobody was there. No, it wasn't that. I just needed more. I needed a certain type of emotion and a certain type of love, and I just didn't feel I was receiving it. And at the moment, I just felt like you have to pull yourself together because no one else is going to do it. I suffered from postpartum really bad. I had a friend, a really good friend of mine, reach out to me. He said, I have someone that can help you. And at the time, I thought about it. Couldn't do it. Because at this time, I'm trying to find God again. Like, at this point, I'm thinking he just left me. So right now, I'm like, all right, I have to try to find him. Maybe there's some answers I don't have, and I just got to figure out. I just have to figure this out. So I didn't get any professional help. I kind of just prayed my way out of it while still struggling with my faith. They came to me and said, all right, Miss Williams, Ian is almost full term. He was due September 13th. And usually when babies get around their term time, we start thinking of different ways to get them home. And they're like, the best way to possibly get Ian home would be to put him or give him a temporary trach. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Y'all not doing that. So the doctor come to me and they said, listen, your son is here. He's here. You are lucky. Your son is a literal miracle. Outside of his lungs that will grow, your son is healthy. Not too many people in your predicament can say that. And I thought about it and I'm like, you're right. I met two moms who 26 weekers didn't even make it. And here I am complaining. Okay. Dad and I talked. We ended up moving him to AI DuPont. Ian has a trach now. My baby is happy. Y'all, he's happy. He's almost 11 pounds. Mind you, he was 1 pound, 6.88. He's almost 11 pounds. It's to the point where you have specialists just coming to see him just because they're amazed by his story. Just amazed. I had the anesthesiologist come and tell me, Ms. Williams, I had to come see your son because when I read his report, I had to read it twice because I couldn't believe what I was reading. We don't get babies that survive the way he does. That's, succeed the way he has. Your son is a fighter. Yeah, that's exactly what he is. And he continues to fight every single day. Dad and I are preparing to take him home. And we're ready. He has to come home. We're currently looking for nurses and everything's good. They say the trach has to be in for about 1.5 to 2 years, depending on how fast he grows. Hopefully he hits a growth spurt. But outside of that, once it's removed, Ian will live a regular life with no issues caused by him being premature. Oh, I didn't mention his sight is good, y'all. He got good sight. And I'm thankful. I am really thankful that he's here. He's healthy. And that even though I was ready to die, to make sure he got here safe, God had a different plan. I'm happy he had a different plan. Because Ian has me. I'm good with that. So, a lot of people have been noticing that I've been posting a lot of stuff about mothers passing and things about preeclampsia and things of that nature, is because it's real. I know 2 women that died recently from it. Babies that have passed from it. And there's no cure for it. And it affects everyone. It's not a black-white thing. It affects women of all races, all ages, all shapes, all sizes, all religions. It doesn't matter. It has no picks. Has no picks. Everybody want to go to Wade and what you doing, what you eating, how you stressing, how you doing this, how you doing that, when problems arise. But this one has no answer. They don't know how to answer it. There's literally no medical answer for it. It just happens. So it's just something to be aware of. Not be afraid of, but be aware of. I knew nothing about it before I got it. It went away as soon as I had Ian. So I'm glad I didn't have to deal with it afterwards, but I am on meds to make sure that my pressure do stay where it needs to be. But I don't want to keep y'all any longer. I just honestly wanted to answer a few of the questions that I've been asked and to share my story. I wasn't going to do this, but I think I am now. I'm going to share a little slideshow of Ian's journey. Hope you guys enjoy. Bye. Look at him. Oh, this is not bothering him, is it?
If you start to hear alarms going or he gets fidgety or whatever, then I would say you think it's bothering him.
Okay.
If he's staying calm and then I would say it's not bothering him.
Okay.
I'm
Oh, look
sure
at him.
Your touch is not bothering him.
Hi, baby. He's trying to open his eyes and everything, and he's beautiful. So beautiful.